Look at how Bitcoin is now hitting a key structure and how that's driving its price down. And it's not just happening with Bitcoin. We're seeing the same thing in Ethereum. The price comes up, reacts, and drops, just like across the whole crypto ecosystem. So, what's the next smart investment? Let's recap a little and remember how in previous videos we analyzed a creek in Bitcoin. Very similar to what you're seeing on screen now. We were saying that when the price hit this zone, we could expect a correction, maybe even a cleanup before getting the move we'd been waiting for. But as you can see, the price didn't need to go through that cleanup phase. Against all odds, the price found support with this accumulation process after such a huge drop, and that made us think we'd need to consume more time. It's very simple. We were seeing this in other markets like Ethereum. Just look at that huge, aggressive drop. It seemed plausible to think that such a small accumulation wouldn't be enough to reverse the price. But, as always, not everything goes as one would like in the financial markets, which are complex. Just like we saw a massive drop in Solana, it was hard to believe that this micro-accumulation could turn the market around. We leave this difficult task to those who think they can predict the future, those who believe they hold a crystal ball. But prudence didn't suggest a V-shaped recovery. Rather, it pointed to seeing some traps before the price started to rise. That was the prudent expectation. But notice how, once the video is recorded, hours pass and it gets published. Or maybe it hasn't been published yet, honestly, I can't recall. But when I saw Bitcoin pull back, leaving a huge wick before going back to test the creek, that already smelled like danger to me. It smelled dangerous in the sense that, after seeing this, it wouldn't be wise to look for shorts on the next visit to the creek. We shouldn't be looking for that anymore. What Cardano and DOT were signaling to us in real time is exactly why it's so important to keep updating the analysis. Markets are alive, and if you take a look, Cardano on Friday at 7 p.m. was positioned here. Notice how far it was from the creek. This was telling us, hey, there's room for upside, which means it was dangerous to look for shorts. And this wasn't just coming from Cardano. At the same time, on Friday at 7 p.m. Spanish time, Polkadot was telling us the same thing. There was room for upside. So, there was a risk in looking for shorts, and that's the idea we shared with you in the last video. But as you can see, it's critical and fundamental to update your analysis, and as I emphasize in this message, work with cross-analysis. A form of technical analysis created and named here at Crypto Insight is what allows us to avoid getting into trades that initially seem to make sense, like searching for shorts. Thanks to keeping an eye on what Cardano and Polkadot were doing and understanding the impact of Bitcoin testing the creek, then showing a massive absorption and continued bullish movement, we now have a couple of key ingredients that we didn't know before, obviously, when the video was recorded. This is why updating the analysis is essential, and cross-analysis in real time gives us this kind of information. If this was the main idea you got from the video after 7 p.m., that changed. And you can only get this information if you're part of the private Crypto Insight Premium community, where we do live sessions daily, seeking trading opportunities, and as you've seen, updating the analysis in real time. Now, looking at Bitcoin's chart in the 4-hour time frame, it's crucial to understand that in this defense zone, which remains a very key level for us, smart money has compressed and accumulated here. That's the hypothesis we've been working on. This was its black swan, a highly significant event. And now, look at how the price has come back to test the origin of the breakout and then reacted upwards. In other words, this has already been explained to you in previous videos when we analyzed the midterm outlook. This type of behavior is what we were generally looking for. It's true that in the hone time frame and digging into the details, we could have expected a small cleanup before the move, but ultimately, the idea was to test the origin of the breakout and then move up. Even though you've seen how useful the updates are, let's now focus on the event of having made a test on the structure and that we're seeing a favorable reaction. Now we're going to switch to the 1-hour time frame, and here's what we're going to look at. First, we have a strong downward impulse. Then we see a W pattern followed by a weak I. And now we're experiencing a very aggressive Z, which is why the price has moved up the way it has. Notice how we're framing the price with this level in the analysis. This morning, as we shared the analysis as a team, as we always do with U8, we were thinking, where could that level be that will act as resistance? Where will the Z look to strike? And for us, this is the level in Bitcoin. What was our working hypothesis? What was our hypothesis this morning, and what is it still today? Simply put, to follow the upward continuation of the Z. And you might say, hey, but it's breaking through. Of course, and this was something we expected, and now I'm going to explain why. But first, welcome to Crypto Insight, your ethical and moral channel for cryptocurrency technical analysis. Here, we really know what we're talking about. We conduct advanced technical analysis that has been developed for over 12 years. We upload videos several times a week. If you're enjoying what you're seeing, let me know and leave a comment with your opinion. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and click on the bell so you don't miss the next opportunity. Before I explain why this breakout is important, why we expected it, and what we can anticipate from it, it's crucial to briefly understand the BNB chart. After the big drop, we've come here to accumulate, and now the price is rising. It's following a similar pattern. With a W, a weak Y, and an aggressive Z, we're seeing the same concept playing out in BNB, and it's even shown us some buyer weakness, leaving a gap at the top. This is why we're seeing both Bitcoin and BNB working the same pattern, and it helps us cross-analyze both to group them together. Then we have other assets like Ethereum, which have come to target a key level that they were bound to interact with. They're already doing so, and we're witnessing the reaction to that event. In short, we'll get into the details now, but the wedges in Bitcoin and BNB are collapsing. It makes sense for them to drop a little further, and we'll soon see how far that might be. What we discussed this morning in our private meeting was essentially reacting to key structures and looking for some type of pullback. But as I've been saying, this is by no means the end of the world. Look at Solana doing exactly the same thing in its key structure. It seems like a trap, and now it's reacting. It might look like the end of the world, but we can't forget that we're still in a Z pattern, and the structure of the Z is still in place. Therefore, we keep looking upward until proven otherwise, and I'll explain how to follow up on this idea, especially with Bitcoin and BNB, as they are giving us the clearest signals. But first, let's take a look at Solana in the 4-hour time frame. We've been working on a macro compression here, and this could be a defense zone ahead of a major macro structure break. Often, before breaking a creek, we see an advanced defense zone, which could be what we're experiencing now. Not long ago, they may have just created a trap over the advanced descending zone. And even though we see a micro test here for continuation, this could be considered a single swing, which might eventually lead to a more genuine test. Who knows? It might even give us the move we've been hoping to see. So, ultimately, if you've been following our videos, you'll know that over the past month, we've been calmly discussing how, in the medium to long term, we remain positive not just about crypto, but also about the traditional markets. Look at something similar happening with Cardano. Here, in the 1-hour time frame, we have that key level where we see the price being rejected in a trap scenario, which is now pushing the price down. This is happening because there's an attempt by Bitcoin and BNB to break through their wedges. As I mentioned, the wedges of Bitcoin and BNB are collapsing as we speak in this video, and now I'm going to explain how we're going to work with this concept. But first, let me tell you that if you want to join the private Crypto Insight Premium community, all you need to do is complete your access request after meeting these 3 requirements. First, you must be a user of Bitget, Binx, or Bitunix using our referral code. You must have deposited crypto into your account and made this your primary futures trading account. In other words, actively trading. And you need to have completed some trades. Once, and only once, you meet these 3 criteria, you can fill out the access form. Within 72 business hours, the team will get back to you. I'll leave the access form in the description and in the pinned comment of this video. Let's continue with Bitcoin. We're going to stay positive because the Z pattern that we're tracking, which is forming through a wedge, is still alive. We can keep updating it over the next few hours, but as long as the formation makes sense, we'll continue prioritizing that bullish direction. What we'll do is wait for the price in case the wedge breaks. It seems like that might be happening now, so in the short term, it's okay if it keeps dropping. For us, this zone will be crucial to look for continuity in that Z formation, so the Z can simply continue, and we may redraw the wedge differently in the future. I hope that makes sense. Now, the question is, when will we stop being positive? It's quite simple. Step 1, if the wedge breaks, as it seems to be doing now. But hey, this could be a fake out, and maybe it's not actually breaking right now. The wedge might extend a bit, and we could see it continue further. That's perfectly possible, and they might try to break it later. We then look for the structure elsewhere, perhaps here, to assess whether the move continues upwards or not. That's why I say the Z's wedge is very much alive. In fact, I like the update I've made so far because BNB isn't showing any signs of an aggressive break at the moment. A wedge needs to be broken aggressively, and I'm not seeing that yet. That's why I'm saying we should remain positive. When we do see an aggressive wedge break, we'll start looking at where the price might stop after such a break. As long as this zone in BNBA holds, we can stay optimistic. So, to stay positive, and to the question of what we should see to change our perspective. We don't know today what structure they'll use. But if they do break the wedge with strength, I have no doubt this would be the structure they'd want to work with. If this were broken to the downside, it would cancel out any bullish ideas. That's if it breaks now. But remember, the wedge is alive, and they might want to break it later. If so, the structure could change in the future, and that's where we'd focus our attention. This is why I keep saying that the wedge is very much alive. It's at this point we'd look for further continuations. Everything depends on when they want to break it and how we keep updating the price as it moves. That's why it's essential to keep following Bitcoin and BNB closely. And rest assured, our private Crypto Insight community had a live session this morning where we discussed how to trade and look for opportunities in the cryptocurrency market. We're looking forward to having you join Crypto Insight Premium. If you enjoyed this advanced technical analysis, please let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and click the bell so YouTube notifies you of future updates. Good luck with your trading and see you next time.